Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to AriesEDC. So I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I recently posted a video of my new Kubi Dust Devil, and Kubi had sent this in to me for me to check out, and I've already reviewed the Dust Devil. KC actually over at Knives Fast, the designer of this with Tempest Knives. He sent me one to review. And Kubi sent this in for me to take a look at. And basically, they've given it to me. So I had my own, I now have my own Dust Devil. And I posted a video that this knife is awesome. But there was one thing I wanted to do, and that was to make my own sheath, which I did. And I posted that, and it got some good reaction because basically I went from this sheath to this sheath. So it basically took a third of the size of that sheath off. So now I have my own Kydex sheath, taco sheath for this knife. And silly me didn't really think about the ramifications of that video. I put it out there thinking, this is cool. People might like to see what they could do and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't think that people would be reaching out and asking me to start making aftermarket sheaths for their fixed blades. And I don't know why that didn't occur to me, because it's kind of a no-brainer that, he does sheaths. We need to get Aries to make me a sheath for my Dust Devil or for my smock or for my whatever. Because a lot of companies are doing these two-piece, and I say two-piece construction sheaths because they're taking two pieces of Kydex and they're mashing it together and then riveting them together with the eyelets on both sides, which I understand why they do it, because it gives you a lot more options on how to carry the knife. If you want to neck carry it, if you want to hang it this way or that way, it gives you a lot of different options to do it. And I guess if you wanted to do a Kydex sheath with taco, you could still do the same thing. I just recently did one with two eyelets at the front to be a neck knife for somebody. And I guess you could always flip it around and pull a right side draw, left side draw, vertical. You could take the loop and move it over here, and it could be vertical carry. You could put a UD clip on here and pocket drop it. So there's a lot of different things you could do with the taco sheath as well. It just doesn't take up as much room. But what I want to do on this video, after that very long and drawn out thing, is there's a lot of people in the community that are doing leather sheaths, but we need some people in the community doing Kydex sheaths. So what I want to do is kind of go over some of the tools that you might need if you want to get into doing a Kydex sheath. Now, I'm not going to talk about materials or all those types of things because that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But I do want to talk to you about, if you're interested in making your own sheaths, it is very possible to do with somewhat of a limited budget. But let's go take a look at some of the first couple things you're going to need if you want to make your own Kydex sheaths. So Kydex is a thermoforming way of making a sheath. So basically you have to heat up the Kydex, which this is all sheet Kydex right here, and you have to thermoform it. So I have built my own press. If you're not very handy and you're not really great at building your own stuff, then you can, by all means, I'll put a link to Holstersmith or knifekits.com, and they sell everything you need to get started doing Kydex. It's really awesome. But I built my own press, and I just kind of looked up directions online. I looked at some videos. I have this nice thick thermofoam, and once the Kydex gets hot and it's on the blade, and then I've done a video on how it works, but I have this cut up. People have used the floor mats that you can get in like shops and stuff. I have not used that stuff, but my my press is basically like a 1x3 with some plywood and some other wood that I made it to where it pressed in nice and tight. I have these nice hinges. Basically, I used stuff that I had laying around to do this with. And it works perfectly. I put this little piece of steel on the top because I use clamps to clamp all this all down. I just have some of those clamps and a big C clamp. And when I clamp everything down, you can see on the back side, the clamp was digging in. So I just glued this piece of end cut steel that I had, and that stopped it from doing that. And I clamp everything in and do that. So you're going to have to come up with some form of pressing everything in. You can build your own and make it to the thickness of the foam. And then when you're pressing it together, then the foam compresses, and you can do that. There's taco style ones where they both fold in together. But this is my press. Again, it's like 3/4 inch plywood on both sides. And then this side is completely flat. This side, I made it a little bit shorter as far as the reach, just because I have that amount of Kydex to work with, or the foam to work with, so I can press something. And I usually press things right at the front. And then again, I came up with just wood that I had laying around that was the perfect height for this. So you have to have some kind of press. You can buy a pre-made one for, I think it's like $150 or something along those lines. I'm not quite sure of the price, but you're going to need a press. Next up, you're going to need some kind of method to heat the Kydex up. Now, I have this oven, and I picked up this oven at a thrift store, and I got a darn good deal at 20 bucks for this thing. And it's a pretty darn good convection oven. I set it to 350 degrees, and it heats up the Kydex within 30 or 40 seconds once you bring it up to temperature, and it's ready to go. So you're going to need some form to heat the Kydex up slowly. You don't want to heat it up too fast because it is just a plastic and it heats up very quick. It can be done with a heat gun. So if you have a heat gun, it can be done. And now if you're doing a sheath that's 2 parts together, that might be a little bit more difficult, but a heat gun will work for that. So you're heating it up and then putting it in your press to form it out. So once you have it formed, you're gonna have to get a way to cut it up. So let's look at some other tools. So once you have your Kydex pressed, you have to be able to cut it to shape. Now, a regular bandsaw, you could probably get a cheaper bandsaw that's just made for wood or anything, because you're dealing with Kydex, it's not a really strong material. But I just have my portable bandsaw set up with the Swag off-road table, and I usually do all of the rough cuts with this. But any bandsaw is going to be able to work for cutting the Kydex to shape. And then you're going to need some kind of grinder or something to get all the edges nice and smooth. A 1x30 would work perfect for if you're just doing Kydex work. A 1x30 is really all you really need. You probably don't even need this. You could probably do it with just sandpaper. It's just going to take you a lot longer to do. And a 1x30 is you could probably get a nice one at Harbor Freight for under $100, and it's going to work really, really well. So you're going to need a way to cut it, and you could use a portable bandsaw, a regular just a table bandsaw, and probably a nice grinder, and that will get you started, and you can bust these out pretty quick. Then you're going to need something to drill holes. Now you could this is just a regular Harbor Freight drill press. You could use a drill press. You could also just use a regular hand drill, as long as it's you can make an accurate hole. And you don't need any crazy drill bits or anything else. I use just this chisel drill bit. You're drilling in plastic, and it doesn't take much to drill the hole. So I use this drill bit on the drill press to drill my eyelets holes for all of my sheaths. pretty simple concept. I do recommend one of these, a countersink bit for the eyelets. So once you drill it, then you could use this to kind of deburr all of the holes. So when you go to put the eyelets in, which we're going to talk about next, everything is nice and smooth. All right, next up is this. So you've drilled the holes, you got it pretty shaped up. You got to put the eyelets in. This is what holds the Kydex together, are these little eyelets. And the best way to do it is with a press. Really, hands down, this takes about half the time as anything else. So I purchased these two dies from knifekits.com, Holstersmith, and these fit perfectly for those eyelets. So basically, I could put the Kydex in here, or the sheath in here. This eyelet goes in here and it gets put into the Kydex, lines up perfectly with this. And it takes 2 seconds for me to just blink, pull that down. I just got to pull this down and it forms that onto the sheath really, really well. There are other ways to do it. There's other things that you could just put it and then you got to get a hammer and hammer it together, which that probably works just fine. It doesn't take much to move these things into place, but this saves me so much more time to do it. And it's a nice smooth finish and it's just boom, done, boom, done. And this was an expense, but I'm so glad I did it because it saves me so much time with that process, with doing that. So you've got it cut out, you've got it shaped, you got the holes drilled, you put the eyelets in, you got it all shaped up. But the last thing I really recommend is some kind of Dremel tool so that you can really work and get that shaped off really well. And the secret weapon is a nice file so that you can get all the deburring off of in between it so you get a nice tight fit. And where the knife goes into the sheath, these help clean up that area really well. So a nice, just thin file that you can get in there and kind of shape everything up so the knife fits nice and snug in the sheath. So those are kind of the tools that I recommend if you want to get into making Kydex sheaths. So like I said, this wasn't really a how-to type of video. I just wanted to kind of share some of the tools that I use, that I make my Kydex sheaths, and I hope that some more people within the community can start just doing Kydex sheaths. I think it would be awesome to have other options for all of these really, really nice production fixed blades that are coming onto the market. I, unfortunately, am not open to be able to have enough time to dedicate to just making sheaths for people that want me to make them a sheath for their knife. I'm way too busy making the actual knives and the sheaths for my own knives, but I think that's an opportunity for somebody to start doing it. So many people are doing leather work, and I think we have forgotten that Kydex is a really cool option for a lot of people, and some people are looking for something other than what they're getting from the production companies. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. This is just another option that we can do that just makes what we love even better. So check out all the links in the description, basically telling you where to get all the materials. You're going to have to do some research yourself. I'm not going to put all individual links to like drill presses and everything else, but there's tons of videos, tons of how-tos out there on how to do it. And it really is something that I hope this inspires you to get out and start making on your own. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helps some of you, and maybe some of you will make your own Kydex sheaths. That would be completely awesome. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, leave a comment, or not. Again, the choice is always yours.